What's up, guys? Beau here, and today we're starting off another new segment on the show. This is going to be the final thing that I want to put on YouTube for my channel, because my main goal for this YouTube channel is to put up 5 segments on my channel. And this is the last one, and this is something that I actually really want to do, because this will actually really express how much I love Transformers, and this will actually show off the first 5 episodes of, or sorry, this is going to be I'm not going to say 5 episodes, that depends on how long this history is going to take. We're going to be talking about, for the first episodes of Beau history, the legacy and history of something that I have loved for the past 3 years and will still be loving it probably all the way to adulthood. Today, we're going to be talking about the legacy and history of the Transformers. Now, when I say this is going to be a huge time to get all this done. We're going to start with the pre-Transformers, before Transformers became Transformers. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. So, the earliest Generation 1 Transformers toys were the Diaclone toys. The Diaclone toy line was first introduced in 1980, but it was not until March 1982 that the toys with alt modes based on realistic present-day vehicles began to appear. The first one was the Diaclone predecessor of Sunstreaker, which Hasbro now considers the first fully fledged transforming car-to-robot toy ever designed. So Sunstreaker is essentially the first Transformer. Its vehicle form was based on an older Dakar toy from the Microman Micro Command subline, released in 1978, which transformed into a half-robot, half-car hybrid. Before the Transformers brand was introduced, Takara directly exported some Diaclone toys to North America under the brand name Diachrode and Chronoform, but those lines met with very little success. In 1983, Hasbro representatives discovered Diaclone and Microchange toys at the Tokyo Toy Fair, and soon struck a deal to create the Transformers toy brand. The 1984 and 1985 Autobot cars, 1984 Decepticon planes, Dinobots, Constructicons, Trainbots, Autobots, Power Dashers, Jumpstarters, Blitzwing toys were all originated from Diaclone. When Transformers proved an unqualified success, plans for a 1985 Diaclone toy line were scrapped, and Transformers was imported to Japan in its place. These aborted toys, which would have been part of a subline called Free Combination, were then incorporated into the Transformers toy line in 1986 as the Aerialbots, Stunticons, Comverticons, Protectobots, and Metroplex. So you guys can essentially see that some of the toys that were going to be in different toy lines did make it pass, and were actually into this series. So let's start off with another thing. Let's get into, in 1984 to 1987, the original Transformers cartoon was born. And let's get an overview of how the cartoon was made. The cartoon, along with the Marvel Comics, set up the basic story of Transformers. The most other incarnations were to follow. 2 warring factions of robots on a planet Cybertron leave in search of resources. The factions crash land on Earth, and millions of years began the battle across the globe. Once established, the cartoon rarely took any steps to upset its status. Plots generally centered on a Decepticon plot or inventions of the weak, which would be used to gather energy or defeat the Autobots forever. Through its 98-episode run, this series took viewers around the globe and to many strange places and times across the alien Cybertron and the Earth's prehistoric past, the Earth's then future of 2005, the Metropolis-like society of Nebulous, and more. It's not the best animated series ever to air, but it stimulated viewers with its concept at the time and continue to do so in the years to come. So let's talk about some of the production that went into this. The writing and distribution for the series was handled as a joint effort by Marvel Production and Sunbow Production. Animated was produced overseas and an unknown studio from the Philippines. The original 30 or so characters were heavily modified from their toy designs. Among the artists involved, the original designs were Shuhachi Karayu and Floro Derry. Other known production artists include Del Barris, who worked on the second season backgrounds. The series was animated on an enormously rushed schedule due to the need to get episodes on the air with the toys appearing on shelves. That, combined with the vast number of characters and the difficulties involved with the overseas animation process, resulted in a cartoon that is atrociously riddled with animation errors and other mistakes. The producers were often aware of these mistakes, but tight deadlines left them no time to correct them. Mistakes or not, the show is fondly remembered by many fans for the high quality of its voice acting. Indeed, many characters lacking any significant plot developments or screen time were brought to life slowly by their unique voices and inflection styles. Voice direction for the series provided by Wally Burr, notorious for driving his performance to the limit. One of the performers in his stable, Susan Blue, would later go on to work as the voice director for Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Transformers Animated, and briefly Transformers Prime. The sinister voice, Victor, provided narration for the entire series, most commonly here on the commercial bumpers. When he says his lines like "the Transformers return" after these messages, that kind of thing. That's what he mostly did for his time. In addition to the song's iconic theme song, Transformers featured a great variety of background music, composed by Robert J. Walsh. Walsh had previously worked on G.I. Joe cartoon, and many of those pieces were reused for Transformers. New pieces were composed as well, many incorporating the melody of the show's theme song. Walsh composed new music for second and third seasons, each in different style, and further distinguishing the three main seasons from one another. The show also originated the concept of the iconic symbol flip, serving as a transition between scenes, a tradition carried on by some of the later series. So let's talk about the seasons, basically how the episodes played out. So these episodes were listed in production order, the order in which the episodes were actually approved and written, rather than the order in which they are aired on television. The first season is primarily set on Earth, with a few scenes to Cybertron. It started with the 1984 toys as its characters, with some exceptions. Yes, we are talking about Shockwave and Reflector. And it also introduced the early wave of 1985 toys as it progressed. For example, the Constructicons, Dinobots, the Insecticons, and Skyfire, aka Jetfire. The first three episodes were promoted airing across 3 consecutive weekdays. A proper 13-episode season that began broadcasting on a weekly basis, usually on Saturday mornings. The following month, while the 3 episodes and 13-episode season 1 are typically combined as a 16-episode season, production companies such as TUI catalog the two separately. The second season was probably what made the Transformers a huge hit. Let's talk about it. Well, let's see if it was a huge success or not. At 49 episodes, the second season of the Transformers was rather substantial in length. The seemingly random number of 49 was not quite so random, though. 65 episodes are the minimum requirement for a cartoon series to qualify. In addition to these 49 episodes, a series of 5 public service announcements were animated, presumably to accompany the episodes. For whatever reason, these PSAs were never broadcast, and the episodes aired without the burden of trying to teach you anything. That seems kind of unfortunate, because we actually got to see some of these. I remember actually seeing some of those on YouTube. You can actually find them sometimes. So it's pretty interesting to see that, and pretty interesting that they did not show it off the air anytime soon, which I find really interesting and kind of sad, actually.